Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how I make my 808s. So let's just go do that. Also, this tutorial will be for FL Studio. So if you don't have FL Studio, I'm pretty sure you can probably use something similar to the FL Studio sampler. But right now I'm going to use the 808 or the 3S oscillator, which is what I use for my 808s. So let's get started on it. So there's going to be two different kind of 808s I'm going to show you. Or actually, yeah, I'll show you how to do that. Two different kind of 808s. So basically you want a sine wave, and all I'm going to do is turn the volume on this 3S oscillator on both oscillators to all the way to the right, 100%. So then after that, I'm going to go to the ends tab, which is here, and then I will go to the volume tab, which is here, and then what I'm going to do is turn the attenuation all the way to the left. I'm going to also turn the hold all the way to the left. I'm going to skip the decay and go to sustain and turn that to the left as well as the release. And then I'm going to go to this the tension tab right here. Click there, and then I'm going to go to the decay, and now I'm going to turn this all the way to the left. So basically, when you see a kick, it looks like, let's find a kick. Okay, when you see a kick, it looks like this. Hold on, the computer's loading. 1 second. Or hard drive, I'm sorry. So when you see a kick, 808 kick, drum, bass, it's gonna look like this, right? So what you notice is that it has this decay like this. So basically what I'm doing is creating that decay with this attenuation or this tension. So what you're gonna do is go to all your tabs except for pan. So the next tab will be cut off. I'm gonna do the same exact thing, right, to every last one of these tabs. And I'm sorry, and I'm getting ahead of myself. And then for this, the pitch is the most important part. So what you want to do with the pitch is the same thing, but the difference is you're going to bring this very tight, right? And this you can adjust to your liking. If you want to have a punchy like house kick, or if you want a really punchy kick, you could make this go more like this. It's gonna make it punch a little more. So I'm gonna show you what that kind of sounds like. And this is very important too. The modulation amount is what you want to turn all the way to the right. So what this is doing is speeding the sine wave up, and then it's slowing down with the way that I create the tension band right here in the pitch. So if you listen to that, you can hear the pew pew, you know. And as I bring this back, it starts to sound like a tom. See that? So now you have a tom sound, and I'm gonna go deeper, and now I have an 808. You guys can't probably hear that, but right now you can see it up here. I'm actually gonna record this so you can see what's going on. So this is what's going on. Nothing actually. Wait, hold on input. Let's do that. So see that? Very small, but this is exactly what you want. See how it kind of looks like the 808 that just went that way. Yeah, so you can see that, and if I'm going to turn this up just so you can see how it looks. And if you see how it kind of cuts off, it decays really fast. If you want like a 808, like a trap 808, you want a long sustaining kick that's fat as hell. So this is what you're gonna do. You just turn the decay up in the volume tab, and now you get this long sustaining fat bass, and you can see that's already a really good 808 right there, and it's already tuned and everything, so you don't have to worry about tuning your kicks. Whatever you play your song in, it's gonna be exactly in the key that you're playing, or scale. So that's just a straight up 808. Now I'm gonna show you how to make the gritty, like trap, distorted sounding 808 that Mike Will uses and like all of the Ray Shrimmer tracks. Like, it's really low, but you can still hear the tonality in the bass. So how I achieve that is I go to the 3S oscillator. Wow, these heaters are really loud. I'm sorry. But now I go and I do all squares, right? Now I'm gonna go back to my ins tab, and what I'm gonna do is go down to the filters in this little box right here, and then I'm gonna click this, and I'm gonna go to LP times 2, which is low pitch times 2. Okay, so I'm clicking that. I'm turning my filter cutoff frequency all the way to the left, right? And then I'm turning my filter resonance all the way to the right. Okay, so now, or actually I'm sorry, not all the way to the right, you're gonna turn it about 50%. Okay, this is the cue of of the resonance. So now we're gonna play it so you can see. So now you can hear the difference between this with the sine wave, which is a very clean 808, and and this like grungy 808. You can see it if I'm record this, you can see really how it turns almost into a square. So basically I'm mixing, I'm taking the 808, or I'm taking squares, and I'm cutting it off and adding a little resonance so it gets that hard edge to it. And you could just keep messing around with this. If you want a rougher one, it gets rougher as much as you go up like this. So that's basically how I make my 808 from scratch there. And now I'm going to show you the rack that I use for how I EQ it. So I'm going to throw this in channel 1. If you don't have waves, I'm sure you could use Fruity Loop stock plugins. It'll probably just not be as powerful, and you might have to use 2 of them, maybe 1 or 2. Definitely the compressor. I don't know exactly how that's gonna work out. I don't really use it, so I'm sorry if that doesn't help. But I mean, you definitely have to do these. It should work for any EQ. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna use mono for my EQ. I'm gonna use a Renaissance mono 4-band EQ. And all I do is I take this, I type in 22, and that's gonna be where I'm cutting off the bass at the very bottom, and I'm gonna do a roll off, a low pass, or high pass, I'm sorry, roll off, like this, and I'm gonna turn the Q all the way up. I'm screwing up really bad right now. Okay, here we go. And this is gonna be at 22. The frequency is 22. So now what I like to do is I'm gonna actually just go into the keyboard, and I will just lay out my 808 right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have this go, and I'm gonna keep playing it, and I'm gonna record this and put it on input, or on play, I'm sorry. And now we're gonna just play it and keep playing it. It's really, really loud right now. So let's hit the trim. So now we trim that down nice and trim. So you got this. Okay, so now what I like to do is also, wait, let me stop. I'm sorry. I also like to add the Paz analyzer stereo, and what this does is basically shows visually what the kick looks like or sounds like. So I'm gonna go back to my EQ. I'm gonna play again. So you can see right here what's going on. Right here is what I want to cut out, this frequency right here, because that's where I'm gonna put my kick. So my kick, I want my kick to fit right there, right? So I'm gonna go over, and if you have the pads, you can actually just kind of put this here, and it says it's around 50, like the frequency is around 55 to 50. So I'm just gonna go here, and I'm gonna go over, and actually no, I'm not gonna use this band. I'm not gonna use this band. So I'm gonna go actually here, and I'm gonna do a low pass filter. I'm gonna drag this all the way over to here, and then I'm gonna take this guy, and then I'm gonna duck that out, raise the Q up a little bit, duck this out here, and you could just start listening and see, like, you take a little bit of the roughness out of that 808. It's all your preference, because if you want a really hard one, sometimes it's too hard, and you need to EQ some of it out, but you still want to keep a little bit of it. Sometimes you can't achieve that with this. This makes it soft as well, but it also can make it hard. You know what I mean? So I like to EQ it out just so it's nice and clean and even. So then what I do after that on my next plugin on the rack is gonna be the Waves Renaissance bass, if I can find it, the R bass mono. Everything you're going to be using for these 808s should be mono, because it's bass, and you always want to put your bass in the middle, so make it mono. And with this, this is really simple. Like, that's why I love this plugin. It's just super simple. What I like to do is, for my 808s, I take the frequency down to 70 hertz, and the plugin opens up stock on 80, so you're only dropping about 10 hertz, or 10 hertz exactly. And then now I just play it again, and then I'm gonna have to trim this manually. And then with this plugin, this actually adds another like nice little grunge to the 808, for those low and resonant sounds that you can't always hear, you know what I mean, with a regular 808. So I like to raise this, listen to it. Depending on the track, sometimes I make these really rough. You see how that's like boom, like that's knocking, right? That's knocking right there. So that's it. That's basically the 808 right there. Now, what we're going to do is we're gonna look at this actually and see if it's where we want it. So I'm gonna play this again, and I'm gonna look at it. Right now you can see that like it has this little punch going on in this area in the front, which is not needed because I'm gonna add an 808. So what will take that out is if I lower this a little bit in the cutoff, and then go like this, and lower the modulation amount. So we can mess around with that. And then yeah, so that's that. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just add a basic kick. The kick it's so basic, it's called sensible. So it's just a regular kick. Like, if you can hear this, you know, doesn't have too much sub in it. You can see the sound wave here. Also, what I like to do with this kick is I like to I like to pogo it a little bit, make it a little snappy at the top end, you know. So that's what I do for that. I'm also actually gonna put this in a different channel because it's actually one. Now you can hear that. There you go. Nice and snappy. And then I am going to do another rack on this, because what I want to do with this, I don't want this sub that's in this area to clash with the sub that's in my 808. So what I'm gonna do is there's a few ways you can do this. One way is you could do a high pass filter, and you can do that, but sometimes it takes out certain characteristics that you want, so that's not always good. That's not how I do it. And there's another way where you could actually take this and kind of create it exactly the same way as I showed you guys how to create the 808 in the 3S oscillator. So which is all of this, you know, and then you drop this down so it cuts off fairly quick, you know what I mean? And then the other way is, let's put this back out so we can get it back to original. The other way is to actually go here to the sample and turn the out off, but that also kind of kills some of the characteristics of the kick. So what I do is I actually, let's just open a preset this time because this video is probably really long right now. So I'm going to open a preset, and it's called flex kick rack. There we go. So this, all I did was I took out a lot of the bass. I went all the way up took the low out all the way up into 52 hertz, and then I boosted it. This boost varies to like whatever the tone of your kick is. You can kind of tone it this way and EQ it to tone it so it fits a little more to whatever your kick is or to whatever your bass is. And then I wanted to boost a little bit of the snap, and that's mainly for like trap house EDM, because there's so many synths and heavy synth lines, you know what I mean? So you need it to pop out of all of that, even with a sidechain. So I have that there. And then after that, I like to put the Fruity P controller right underneath the EQ, and this is gonna trigger another compressor that I'm gonna put on the bass, the 808 bass. So for the 808 bass trigger, the sidechain trigger, I'm gonna use another compressor, and it's gonna be the R compressor, right? And this is also really easy. So all I do is I take this threshold and I move it up and down like this, so the program knows that I want to affect that. Then I go to Tools, Last Tweaked, and then I go to Link to Controller, right? So now I have my kick, which is the kick that I'm going to use. I'm going to sidechain directly to the kick. I know a lot of people use ghost kicks for sidechain, but I'm going to use it for this because I'm going to use it with this kick because it's the whole kick. The 808, the kick is going to be with the 808. I'm sorry. So now I'm sidechaining with this, and then what I'm going to do is invert this input. I'm going to invert it and then accept, and that's it. And then now we have our kick, right? And then the compression that I use on the kick as well is going to be, I bring it up to about 111 hertz, just so it takes out a lot of the bass down there, but you still have the presence of the actual punch of the kick. And so now I sidechain that kick to my 808. So now what I'm going to do is, that's not a kick. So now what I'm going to do is place my kick in here, wherever. This is not a kick still. Wait, alright, here we go. So the kick is there. So now we got our 808 and kick. And now, you see that? That is amazing. So now we're sidechaining this bass. And you can see, wait, let me trim this a little bit. It's a little extreme. And also probably have to trim this too. No, so that's your kick right there. And now we can look at this. You can see it's a nice looking kick, nice and punchy. As you can see, this right here is probably a little too high on the frequency range. I kind of want this punch to be like here in this area. It's at 109, 110 hertz. So what I'm gonna do is take this and kind of like just boost it here. Yeah. Or maybe even, remember I said I did drop that to 11, didn't I? Or I moved it up to 11, so maybe we can put a little more bass in there. There we go. Now we're looking good. Now we're looking stylish there. So that's our kick. Let's turn this down so we're not distorting. And that's it, man. That's how I make my kicks. And I hope that was helpful. I hope this video wasn't like extremely long. Leave some comments if you like anything else in my tracks that you think you would like to learn how to do. I'm always open to show you guys. So peace out till next time.